the pre-Adamites, or so to speak, the people that existed before Adam. Most people believe that Adam had to be of that race.
You mean the human?
Yeah.
Oh, of the pre-Adamite race.
Yes. Most
so what you're saying,
that.
what you're saying is there could have been another species of beings.
No, I mean there was a species from heaven that came down. Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, according to Bruce R. McConkie, came down.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
Okay, so now we're going to get to a really important point that I think is an important point. Okay, and that's the false notion of what's called irreducible complexity.
Irreducible complexity. I'm going to Google that while you're talking. How do you spell that?
IRREDUCIBLE. And then the next word is
not able to be reduced or simplified. Complexity. Complexity.
Yeah.
Is the argument that certain biological systems with multiple interacting parts would not function if one of the parts was removed.
Right.
So supposedly could not have evolved by successive small modifications from earlier, less complex systems through natural selection. Okay.
Yeah. So as a good example of the type of thing that, lots of people that are literalists that are not into evolution bring up, is they say, the eye is an organ that's so complex that it can't have occurred in organisms, through those incrementally small, steps of many steps over time. Right. And so I don't buy that. Okay. So just because God is a human, okay, does not mean
a perfected human.
Yes.
Right.
Does not mean that our bodies did not evolve through a convergent process to become genetically compatible with his kind of body. Okay. Because there's something.
You got to back up on that one, brother.
Yeah.
So there's explain that in non-scholar terms.
Yeah. So just because God is the same kind of being as us, and just because our spirits are his literal offspring, does not mean that the origin of our bodies began just with Adam and Eve.
Okay. I understand what you're saying.
Okay. So
well, we could have been transplanted from other planets here too. Yeah, that's what I think.
But that's not
like test tube babies.
That's not what the evidence shows.
Okay.
The evidence shows this evolution where gradually our bodies became convergent, where they converged with the structure that God's form has. Okay, so that converged into that. It did not start out that way.
What? Okay, what you're saying that Adam and Eve didn't look like Adam and Eve?
I wasn't bringing up Adam and Eve yet.
Okay.
I'm talking about the origins of human bodies going back hundreds of thousands and millions of years.
I don't really think there's any sufficient evidence for that, though.
Okay, well, there is, and I'll talk about that. Okay. So Adam and Eve, okay, according to Adam God, and I'm not gonna get deep into that.
You mean he's the one we answer to in the priesthood?
No.
Okay. What do you mean?
No.
Well, he is Michael the Archangel.
He is a god. He is. But I don't believe in Adam God. Okay. I don't believe in the classic Adam God thing.
Well, that's just a misinterpretation of what Brigham Young was really talking about.
Yeah. Or that's what some people claim about it. I don't know. But I do know that I don't believe that. Okay. But I'll tell you what I do believe. And that is that Adam and Eve were a literal son and daughter of two heavenly parents.
Okay. No, I don't have a problem with that. There's been prophets and apostles even. Didn't Bruce R. McConkie kind of teach that?
Yeah. but see, that was something
or that the Immaculate Conception was a literal conception, but I don't want to offend anybody out there, but that's a possibility.
yeah, I'm not into that part.
Okay. No, that's fine. I don't,
Yeah.
but when it comes down to it, when I'm in gospel doctrine like a week
Mhm.
ago and I'm learning about Mary and we're watching
Yeah.
a video about Mary and the angel
Mhm.
coming to her, I'm not thinking any of that. I'm just thinking, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this happened and moving on. You know what I
Well,
mean?
a Gnostic book that Hugh Nibley talked about, the Gospel of Bartholomew, actually talks about Mary going through a marriage ceremony and being brought through the veil by the Father.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not a matter of the fact that God was married to Mary, which had to be in order for there to be law. Okay, it had to be a lawful relationship. The mode of
But then again, I'm not God, so I don't know if that happened or not. But it's an interesting theory.
The mode of how the conception of Jesus's body came to be, it's to me, there's no reason to couple that with the fact that God had to be married to her to make that a lawful thing. Okay, that just means that Mary had two husbands. It doesn't mean that God engaged in anything.
No, because if we can, well, look at science today. We can someone a female a female can conceive a baby without conceiving with someone. So if that's the case, then Heavenly Father can do a lot more and better than that. And
but absolutely, it's just that the contractual law that we call, or the covenant, happens to be called marriage, that makes that a lawful thing to have children with someone else.
Okay, so let's go back to Adam and Eve.
So
what
Adam
do we mean
and
here?
Eve,
What's the difference?
Okay, there's a big difference, because the typical idea of people that believe that Adam and Eve were, there are the people the people that evolved, so to speak, have anything with human, that with the pre-Adamites, or so to speak, the people that existed before Adam. Most people believe that Adam had to be of that race.
You mean the human?
Yeah.
Of the pre-Adamite race.
Yes. Most people
so what you're saying,
that.
What you're saying is there could have been another species of beings.
No, I mean, there was a species from heaven that came down. Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, according to Bruce R. McConkie, came down to the Garden.
No, I'm talking about the pre-Adamites. They were a different species. Is that what
No,
you're saying?
they were several different species, but they all converged into one.
Okay.
And that one species is genetically compatible with the species from heaven. Does that make sense? So when Adam and Eve were
now, folks, I just want you to know I don't necessarily believe everything Ed's saying. But it's interesting.
Yes.
And we need to look at things objectively, and it gets your juices up here.
Yeah. So Adam and Eve were born, had children. Their children started to spread out, and when they encountered people not of their same origin, they interbred.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. All I'm saying is, what comes to mind is this is some pretty detailed. These are detailed ideas that you'd have to have a lot of strong evidence to prove that this.
I have strong evidence. I have strong evidence, because on the one hand, you say that there was an Adam and Eve. We know that. That's doctrine. That is, they were in Bronze Age America.
Okay.
They were in Missouri in Bronze Age America. Okay.
Right. When the continents were together, right?
Yeah, my DNA is 2 to 5% Neanderthal.
Okay.
People in Australia.
If there wasn't a Neanderthal, But
there
here,
was a
let me just say this real
Neanderthal.
quick. Well, because of the what's it called? They look at the DNA. They look at the
Hmm.
word for it, the chromosomes.
Hmm.
They look at the chromosomes from fossils, from uh beings that they've found, right?
Hmm.
And they say that's a Neanderthal, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
What if that was just a person that had a different makeup, but
Um,
they were
but
just another race of people, but we call them Neanderthals? Do you know
that's
what I'm
not
saying?
that's not the way it is according to the dating of the fossils and so forth. So yeah,
Okay.
I know what you're saying, but and I get that you don't agree with it, but that's the point,
No, I
right?
don't
That's
disagree with it
yeah.
necessarily. I'm just saying,
So
I'm just giving another idea.
so there's three distinct species that they have evidence for, and those within the last two to 100,000 or 200,000 years, and the scientists have given these the names of Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, and Denisovan. Okay, the Denisovans lived in Asia, and everybody in that area has their genes. The Neanderthals lived in Europe. Everybody in the area has their genes. Those species did not live in Africa. Almost nobody in Africa has their genes. It's regional, and the people that have continuity in the areas where those species were have their genes. So if we're saying that Adam and Eve were from God, the body of the heavenly parent, the bodies of the heavenly parents, then we had hybridization events with pre-Adamite peoples because the
Okay.
DNA doesn't lie.
Okay. So what you're saying is that Adam and Eve did happen about 6,000 years ago.
Well, yeah, whatever it was,
Okay,
but it was
Adam and Eve
4,000 BC.
that was a recent event in
Yeah.
history,
Hmm.
and their children or
Spread out.
spread out. Some of them left the covenant, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And mixed and mingled with the people of the earth that were
That's
already
right.
here.
That's right.
Okay. That's kind of interesting. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm not saying that didn't happen.
Hmm.
No, it's fathomable,
Hmm.
it is fathomable.
And where's the evidence for that in the scriptures? Well, it's right in the book of Moses.
Yeah, that's interesting. So basically we mixed there's some of us on the planet that have the DNA, some don't, and some mixed with others that had the DNA. So we're kind of this melting pot of some, in your observation,
Hmm.
some have this DNA more than others.
Well, it depends on they all have pre-Adamite DNA. The issue is what species are they, or what species are they descended from? And some are descended from Neanderthal, where others are not. Some are descended from Denisovan, where others are not.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What next?
So